Colonialism doesn't just take your land, it takes your mind as well. And the British Empire had a clear strategy on this one. Force and enforce English and make people ashamed of their culture and their language. 2 tactics. With British colonial power, there's always the same 2 tactics, right? You've got your hard power, so hard enforcements, the rules, the punishments, the laws, the brutality. And then the soft power, which is often forgotten about, which is the psychological manipulation and the propaganda. And a lot of internalized shame. And it worked. Generations of Irish and other Celtic and other nations across the world grew up thinking that their own language wasn't valuable. This is exactly what happened in my family. My grandfather was a native Irish speaker. He was from Spittal, Connemara, and he came to Dublin when he was 16, and it was then that he started to speak English. But when he had my father, he didn't pass that on. And my father has 0 Irish. I asked my grandmother, who's still alive, why, and she said, well, we just thought it had no value for them. We lived in Dublin, nobody spoke it, so you can imagine for them, I guess, who were they speaking Irish for? Is only for my grandfather's parents who had passed away. That was what their minds, that's how they felt in their minds. They didn't see the bigger picture. They thought the language was useless, they thought that it was dead. And I wish that my grandfather could see all the lovely TikToks and the people speaking and learning and teaching Irish on this app, because he'd be so proud. The British didn't do that just to the Irish though. In Wales, children caught speaking Welsh in school had to wear this lovely plaque that said Wales not for the whole day. And if by the end of the day the child had still this around their neck, they'd take a beating. This made Welsh children terrified to speak their own language. The internalized shame of being beaten every time you use your language. We have a vibrant community of Gael schools in Ireland now. For a long time, Irish was outlawed in schools, and we were also beaten as children for using it. Over time, people start to associate Celtic languages with poor, uneducated Philistines. I mean, you know where that word came from. When they went to India and Africa, at first, they did allow you to use your native language for one thing. You could read the Bible in it. Once you were converted to Christianity, though, no more language for you. Once the punishments and restrictions were in place, this created a nasty feedback loop that we are still trying to work through. Parents stopped even teaching their children the languages because they thought that they would hold them back. And increasingly, English was embraced as the language of business, and more over generations, parents felt that they must equip their children with English so that they can be successful. That's why English is the most spoken language in the world. It is not the most successful language in the world. It just speaks volumes to the brutality of the British Empire, that they forced that many people to give up their culture. So then what you have emerging in the 20th century is that speaking English becomes a status symbol. Speaking your native language is a sign that you are backwards. And so over time, people didn't need to be forced to speak the language. They did so willingly, thinking that this was a smart choice. And that is the ultimate success of colonialism, when you can get the people to police their own self from your internalized colonial mind. This is still happening. We are still fighting this. Globalism is the new colonialism. Local languages and cultures continue to be erased, except instead of the British, it's the American Empire, and instead of military force, it's corporate power. One of the first ways to resist colonization is to take back your own language skills. Má tá cúpla focal nó níos maithagat is féidir leat Gaeilge a labhairt.